Heathcliff, it's me. I'm Kathy. I've come home. I'm so old. Let me in your window. Heathcliff, it's me.
Days of fables, it's the tea, it's the show. Lessons in love with a fabulous glow.
Hello, gentle viewers, and welcome back to Gaysop's Fables, where we tell modern gay fairy tales for a modern gay life. I'm Matt, your modern gay fag, and it has been a hot minute. What has been happening for me? Work. I've been writing. Write. I've been getting a proposal together for a book that I've written. But that is a topic for another day. Also, I went to Norway and I cold plunged in a fjord. Am I a cold plunger now? But I am back to do what I love, to discuss the gays, to talk about psychology, relationships, and anything homosexual.
Ha! Gay!
But today, I will not be reading an original fable, no! In fact, for the next little while, I'll be sharing my own experiences of love and loss, of dating and romance. I mean, they were loosely veiled before. There'll be fables in the fact that you can learn something from them. We'll see if I have. But they'll be more personal, more revealing, more exposing. You may have noticed, but Wuthering Heights is out in cinemas everywhere. This is not a hot take video at all. It is one of my favourite novels since I read it in 2016, and I have thoughts, but what it did was inspire me to talk about something. I am a bit of a classics die-hard. I also recently rewatched the very excellent 2011 Jane Eyre with Mia something. She's Australian. She was Alice in Wonderland. And Michael Fassbender. And I read that for the first time in COVID and loved it. Not as much as Wuthering Heights. I am particularly partial to the 1995 BBC production of Pride and Prejudice. The film with Keira Knightley is fine, but they just seem so poor in comparison. And Emma Thompson's Sense and Sensibility is one of my favourite films of all time. I am a classics gay-y. That's like a girly, but for gays, I'm sure there is a better term. The comfort of Austen, the tortured romances of the Bronte sisters, polite drawing rooms where what you don't say is what counts. The moors where the wind and rain represent the internal longing and desperation of young love. Pathetic fallacy. Year 10 English, shout out to Mrs. Steele. The classics, whilst often cynical about society, were not cynical about love. Austen and Bronte had very different ideas about love, but even when portrayed as destructive, love is not the muted mess we deal with these days. Big feelings, grandiose endings, great loss, it was all big. Big feelings. Recently, I have become concerned that I have become small. Small feelings. Too aware of my habits, my triggers, my patterns, becoming less of a person and more of a diagnostician. I've looked at my dating and romantic decisions through attachment theory. I've examined my mistakes through psychodynamics. I've interrogated my catastrophes through a lens of transactional analysis. And I've decided that this is a wholly unromantic way to understand romance. I miss feelings. Big, messy, broad, nonsensical feelings. So it's time to go big again. And in the world of literature, what is bigger than Shakespearean tragedy? Heroes taking big swings in life and in love, ending in death, dismay, and despair. It ended tragically, but they went big. And each of the tragic heroes typically had one big flaw, one deep core element of themselves that they could not escape, and that led to their undoing. So yes, today we are discussing the fatal flaw. That is, the fault or weakness in someone that will ensure their failure, destruction, and demise. And this is very different to normal flaws or character flaws. Those are the weaknesses that characters have at the beginning of a story that they usually overcome by the end. The flaw is a cause for conflict in the middle, but ultimately gets resolved and the characters learn something. This is a classic Austen structure. Her first novel, Sense and Sensibility. One sister is all sense and thinking, the other sister all sensibility and feeling.
I must speak to him.
There you are, my dear. Oh, my goodness.
They have trials and tribulations with men, with death, with financial insecurity, and by the end, Eleanor, previously Sense, learns to listen to her heart. Marianne, previously Sensibility, learns to think with her head. Pride and Prejudice, another classic example. At the beginning, Darcy is all pride, thinking himself above everyone else. Lizzie, all prejudice, judging people before she even knows them. By the end, Darcy allows himself to love for love's sake, and Lizzie learns to not judge a book by its cover, to go beyond first impressions, which incidentally is the original working title that would become Pride and Prejudice. Persuasion. Anne Elliot in the past let herself be persuaded out of a marriage, and at the end, she does not let herself be persuaded. Flaws are great. They make us human, as they say. And we look at things like intellect, sense of humour, beauty as these defining individual characteristics of ourselves, but flaws are as well. Insecurity, pride, impulsivity, being judgmental, all the wonderful colours and shades of a life lived and an identity formed. But, and it's a big but, these are flaws that are overcome as a central part of the story. Fatal flaws are not. They are the character's undoing. The concept of a fatal flaw was most closely associated with the work of William Shakespeare, though there have been and continue to be many prominent examples in literature and in film. Each of Shakespeare's tragedies have a protagonist with a fatal flaw that gets him killed. Not her. I mean, there's plenty of women who die, but they're not the protagonist in Shakespeare's plays. Macbeth is too ambitious, leading him to murder Duncan and descend into tyranny and paranoia that destroy both his kingdom and himself. Hamlet overthinks everything, causing a fatal delay that allows corruption to spread and ultimately results in the deaths of nearly the entire court, including his own. Do I have to say spoiler? It's Shakespeare. Read. Othello couldn't contain his jealousy and insecurity, driving him to murder the dear Desdemona and only recognizing the truth when irreversible tragedy had already occurred. Ultimately, the characters were unable to judge their situations. They misjudged risk, they misjudged loyalty, they misjudged themselves. Now we're talking. This is relatable content. I was going somewhere with all of this. Their emotions, drives, and decisions, unchecked, led to their deaths. This is a level of drama that matches the intensity of my feelings. Of course, like real life, there were a lot of other factors at play. Social class, deceptive servants, poisons, treacherous uncles. The fatal flaw was not the sole cause, but rather it was the part that could be changed and wasn't. So, circling back, Wuthering Heights, where Austen heroines typically overcome their character flaws, Cathy and Heathcliff in Wuthering Heights do not. They're excellent examples of a more traditional fatal flaw. Cathy's split personality, where one minute she's crying that she is Heathcliff and that she loves him, but also she likes the status and privilege afforded to her by a marriage to Edgar Linton. Heathcliff, his obsession, his emotional fixation on the past, on Cathy, he cannot move on. Revenge becomes his lifeblood. So why am I talking about this? I'm so glad you asked. I am on a mission to reintroduce the romance into my romantic thoughts, to experience romance instead of diagnosing it. to concern myself with risk, intensity, longing, meaning, not labels, explanations, frameworks. They served a purpose to protect me from harm, but I'm worried this has been at the expense of actually allowing me to let my guard down ever. So it's time to look inward with as much honest clarity as I can muster. So, let's have a discussion about flaws. I have many flaws, to be sure. I can be very proud, I can be too direct, I can be irritable, I struggle to let things go, I overthink, so I'm told. But these are symptoms of someone who wants to connect but can't, or won't. And so my fatal romantic flaw? Well, unfortunately, this desperate yearning for connection leaves me rather blind when it comes to matters of the heart. Giving people chances they don't deserve, a militant work ethic to resolve conflict and to stay in things that I should probably leave, mistaking their interests for my own, getting lost in the doting and attention, and loving their adoration of me to the point that I'm not thinking about whether I like them. Mistaking affection for connection, mistaking intimacy for connection, mistaking sex for connection, just generally mistaking what a connection is. And here it is, my romantic fatal flaw, making romantic connection the sole measure of my self-worth. Does it have to be fatal? The death blow to genuine connection, the destruction of hope? I f***ing hope not. So over the coming weeks, I shall be telling some dating stories, and together we can work out whether this will be romantically fatal or whether there is hope for me. Like this video, subscribe, hit that notification button, all the things YouTubers say, even really small ones like me. It does help grow. And if you're invested, we're in for a bit of a wild ride. Anyone who knows me knows I'm full of stories. See you next week, you gorgeous romantics.
Days of Fables, it's the tea, it's the show. Lessons in love with a fabulous glow.